All right, it is a story that you'll see first on Fox Business. Dan Ives, Wedbush Securities, joins me now. And Dan, you're launching a tech ETF. Is that correct? Tell me about it. When does it start trading?
Yeah, so it's great to be here, and it starts trading tomorrow morning. So Wedbush, as well as ETFMG, we've really collaborated on this brainchild to have an investment vehicle to go after the $1 trillion of cloud spending that we see over the next decade. And really, it's a mid-cap global way to attack it. I know me and you have talked about cloud, many times. It's one of the most transformational themes I've seen 20 years of covering tech, which is why, I really was excited to put together a vehicle to capture that spending.
So what kind of companies do you have in there again? How many? And how did you just decide which went in and which didn't?
Sure, it's a great question. And along with ETFMG and Wedbush, it was really putting together a mid-cap infrastructure cloud stack that I believe is it's an area of cloud that's not really as appreciated by most investors. Many look at large cap names, Microsoft, Amazon, Google, but this is really going after where we see the vast majority of spending on the cloud stack. As you look today, the stay-at-home theme, applications like Slack, look at names like DocuSign, Zoom, those don't run without the cloud stack. So it was putting together roughly about 50 names that really attack this trend globally, not just in the U.S., but internationally, which is something I'm pretty bullish on.
All right, Dan, we have you here. Of course, we talk Apple. Understand the iPhone 9, a mid-range, cheaper phone, is coming out at a time when we have a pandemic. People are losing jobs. Maybe not the best time, but you say Apple is going to go ahead with the iPhone 9.
Yeah, I view this as obviously a quagmire for Apple, but it's more of a low-touch, low-fanfare, sort of entry-level SE product. The big one's going to be iPhone 12, and to that point, in terms of the 5G, we do believe it gets pushed out past the fall into holiday season. That's front and center for investors, just in light of what we're seeing with the pandemic and obviously just in a very uncertain demand environment for consumers.
Must be difficult for Apple and the gang there to try and, think forward, because you really don't know where this thing is going. We are seeing signs of improvement with the virus, but trying to decide when to launch such an anticipated new model of the iPhone must be very difficult.
Yeah, I think it's a balancing act, because I can tell you the supply chain could hit an October timeframe. But ultimately, in terms of what we're seeing in demand, even coming out of a lockdown sort of in the summer, going into fall, just not the ideal time, obviously, to release it. And you get one shot at it. You cannot release it into a tempered environment. And I think that's the balancing act for all these companies, not just Apple, but really across software, across tech. But that's why I think we're really going to have a back-end loaded, weighted year across tech. We continue to view and how we bullish on Apple. It's the other side of the dark valley in terms of why we want to own this stock, in terms of a 5G super cycle, which is delayed, but still there.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Dan Ives, he has a new ETF, and appropriately enough, it's called IVES, IVES. Dan, as always, thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.